dangerous road conditions are leaving several drivers stuck in the snow. This is what we saw overnight as cars spun out along Interstate 64 and on the side of a number of our side streets as well. Good morning. I'm Renee Knott. We are cutting in with some breaking winter weather coverage.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm Michelle Lee. We are in a weather impact alert this morning. So, you know, if you do have to actually brave the weather, some people do, and brave the roads, we've got everything that you need to know. First of all, we can tell you this morning we have team coverage from both sides of the river. Our Sydney Stallworth is keeping an eye on the roads here in Missouri, while our Mercedes McKay is in our weather impact storm tracker in Illinois. And of course, Anthony Slaughter and Paul Cook are here in studio.
Let's get over to Anthony Slaughter first of all, and I'm glad that the snow has moved out, but it's left a lot behind.
Yes, the damage is certainly done after all of the snow we had mixing in with the sleet. And so the impact today is all about the travel. The roadways are so compacted with snow and ice, and we've got drifting and blowing snow now because of gusty winds. So you really just want to avoid travel until MoDOT and IDOT can completely clear all of our interstates. I will tell you this, we're making some headway. We're starting to see pavement on some of the interstates, but I'll leave that up to Paul. Let's start off though with a look at the weather map, and you can see how the snow has moved away from us now in the Ohio River Valley out across the East Coast. So all of the snow showers we had earlier have moved on, and the skies are actually starting to clear out. That's what I was talking about. You can see on 6440 in Chesterfield, starting to see some pavement here. We've seen the plows come through several times to try to make some headway here, but I do want to show you the snowfall totals, and just like we were expecting, we did see 5 to 10 inches area wide. The highest amounts north from Bowling Green to Staunton, even Lake St. Louis about 9 inches. St. Louis Lambert clocking in at 6, and a lot of our neighborhoods somewhere around 5 to 6 from Maryland Heights to Kirkwood, even Chesterfield 7 inches. So this system, yes, a big one, and the impacts will be felt for several days now, of course, because of the bitter cold that's left behind. It's 21 at Lambert, only feels like 9 this morning. And even as we go into the afternoon, we're not going to warm much. We're expected to stay below freezing today all the way through Friday. Afternoon, morning hours, doesn't matter. We're not expecting to break the 32-degree mark until this weekend. So whatever does get treated or even untreated is expected to freeze and refreeze if you do put salt down. Just remember, again, those numbers are not going to break freezing. So we're in the teens and 20s. These are actual air temperatures still right now, just have not moved much. And we'll get up to about 25 degrees today. We're done with the snow, but we'll hang on to the bitterly cold air, even gusty winds today that could make it feel even colder. So the extreme cold, it's here for this week, and after this week we do start to rebound. By Friday we're up to 31 degrees, but you know what, on Friday that's our next chance of snow. We will talk all about that and give you a chance to digest what we just had coming up in a little bit. Let's talk to Paul Cook and see how our roads are holding up this morning. Wow, Paul, I mean, what a morning.
Oh my gosh, it was hellacious out there, and there's still quite a bit of danger left in this situation, even though the snow has moved on. You can see it back here, and when you look at those lanes, you can see it's obviously just tire tracks. They're going to keep working with this until it's more of a straight, just full shot. And the big thing here is if you've got a stall out there, where we were just looking, by the way, Brentwood at 170 and 6440, it's where the red arrow is here. If you have a stall out there, they're going to come by and do more plowing, and they're going to bury your car, right? I mean, they have to, right? MoDOT, IDOT, they're doing a great job, but I'm telling you, they don't have enough drivers, and they are everywhere working long hours. So just be careful there. When you see the plows going in that kind of row, that is a very strong situation to avoid if you can. We're only going 11 miles an hour at the most out here near the Boone Bridge. So that's the kind of stuff we're seeing. When you look at all these colors, by the way, if you're just joining us, this is not crowded traffic. Of course, these are speeds people are going at, and it's usually green. Now we're talking red and orange, which would be slower than 20 miles an hour. We're going to keep a very close eye on this. You've got a big half hour here of us giving a lot of important information, so stay right where you are, guys.
All right, Paul, thank you very much. We want to give everybody a real-time look at the road, so we have crews out and about this morning.
Sydney Stallworth is joining us live going westbound on I-64, and Sydney has really seen a lot this morning. We saw a lot of jams and you know, people being stalled and spin outs. Sydney, what are you seeing right now?
Hey, Michelle, Rennie, we're on 64 westbound, and up until this point, I could have said that the roads look a lot better than what we saw earlier this morning, starting at the 5 a.m. hour. As we were leaving our KSDK studio downtown, up until we got to about Brentwood, there were maybe 2 paved lanes that you could see the plows came through, but now that we are further out past Brentwood on 64, you can see there's barely one little situation here that the plow came through. So we're going to stay in where we can kind of see the pavement, and it looks like we're coming up on another situation of flashing lights. I can tell you that about 2 exits ago, we're near Spady Road exit, but about 2 exits ago, we saw a spun out car being towed just moments ago, someone else getting stuck on these on and off ramps. That's really the problem, because take a look there, it's all white as you try to get off these off ramps, and it looks like somebody may have been trying to merge on here. We're going to come up on these red and blue flashing lights as crews seem to be assisting someone here. This is a story we've been seeing all day, guys. The ramps are causing the problems. We see a pickup truck, white pickup, as somebody's trying to get those wheels going. Lots of spinning wheels in the snow is the story of the morning. We see Frontenac police out trying to help push what seems to be a SUV, and there's a Jeep too trying to get off of that on-ramp there. And the main issue is because there's inches of snow piled up on the shoulders of the highways and the interstates, and again on those off-ramps that are unplowed. So everyone wants to know, of course, Rennie and Michelle, how the highways and the interstates are looking, and there's a little bit of an area where you can see pavement, but if you can't get on and off of the interstates and the highways safely, it really doesn't matter. Everyone's getting stuck on those on and off ramps. That's the story of what we're seeing now. Again, 64 westbound up until about Brentwood was pretty good if you're coming and going around the city area, the city of St. Louis, and coming out west, but after Brentwood, it's just like this. This is what we're seeing, and many issues on the ramps, guys. That's the very latest. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Sydney. We saw that earlier this morning as well, because once the plows go through, all those inches of snow that are on the roads get pushed to the sides.
Sure.
That's why you have the problems with the on and off ramps as well.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and get to Mercedes McKay in our storm tracker. She is east of O'Fallon, driving along I-64, and Mercedes was talking about, power outages earlier today, and also the wind.
A lot of everything happening out there. Tell us more, Mercedes.
Yeah, Rennie, Michelle, a little mixture of everything this morning for sure. We've been on the Illinois side for about 5 hours this morning, and I will tell you what we saw on I-55, very different than what we're seeing right now on I-64. So I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see our conditions right now. You can barely see the pavement on the interstate. Just to let y'all know the difference of the conditions, when we were coming from downtown, heading over to Illinois, going eastbound on I-64, this is what we've been dealing with. You can barely see the interstate at all. You see, I don't know if y'all can see there far ahead, there's a car in front of us, has its hazard on. But on the left side of us, there's a lot of traffic going through. Someone driving past us. This is something we've been seeing as well. If you are out and about, please lower your speed. Right now, we're going about 35 miles an hour. Very different than on I-55 just about 30 minutes ago when we were on I-55 heading westbound. We could actually see the interstate. Those areas were pretty clear. But similar story in Illinois that Sydney has been seeing all morning in Missouri. Even if the highways are a little okay, the on and off ramps are not. But what we're experiencing right now on I-64, just east of O'Fallon, heading eastbound, is not good at all, you guys. You can barely see the interstate. It's kind of that slushy snow that looks like you'd be okay, but then as soon as you're driving, our photographer's telling me it is very slick on these roads. Now, all morning long, we know IDOT has been working around the clock. Actually, some people working 20+ hour shifts to get these roads cleared. I will also tell you guys the side roads in East St. Louis this morning were really rough. What we're seeing right now on the interstate is better than what we saw on the side roads, but we have that snow piled up on the sides of the interstate, so you have to get on and off. It's very tricky. The video you're looking at now is actually something our 5 on Your Side photographer Eric Voss shot earlier right before 6 a.m. You can see those snow plows going down I-55 heading westbound, working nonstop. We did catch up with the Illinois Department of Transportation, Joe Monroe, all morning long. He told us they're finally making progress, but overnight the added snow and wind made things more difficult.
The overnight snow was a little bit heavier than forecast, and the winds are certainly problematic. There's a period of time there where those windrows can get a little bit heavier and high accumulation totals that we're facing today. And certainly the winds, expect east-west routes to remain problematic until the winds die down.
Definitely thankful for both IDOT and MoDOT workers working nonstop for us. But again, want to reiterate, if you don't have to go outside today, please don't. Right now, again, we're heading on eastbound I-64 just past O'Fallon, and this is tricky out here. People going a little faster than I would like to see. If you have to get out on the roads, we understand. Just make sure you're taking it slow. Again, we're going about 30 miles per hour. Definitely some slick spots. And I'm going to take it back to me to talk a little bit more about those power outages we've been seeing. That's another big part of this winter storm. Missouri's looking a lot better than Illinois. So about 5 minutes ago when I checked, Ameren customers without power in Missouri, a little over 8,000. Right now in Illinois, that number is at 22,000. Michelle and Rennie, though, that's actually better than what we saw this morning. 2 hours ago, that number was at 26,000. But that's going to be an ongoing developing part of this winter storm as well. If people still remain without power in these frigid temperatures. You know, last night we were also out here. I was talking to Ameren and they said this condition makes it even harder for them. Imagine those linemen having to work in these freezing temperatures. So please remain patient with all these workers. They're trying their best and we do appreciate them. But again, please stay home if you can. I'll send it back to y'all in studio.
All right, thank you, Mercedes. Please stay safe out there as well. Now, while the snow was coming down overnight, as you could imagine, it caused some major issues on many of our interstates throughout the St. Louis area.
And remember, during our morning show, we were talking about the Missouri Highway Patrol saying that they had more than 450 calls for stranded drivers. That was a couple of hours ago. I'm sure that that number has increased as well. And our crew saw dozens of stranded cars with our own eyes. So here is the most recent crash of a semi-truck along I-44 at Lindbergh. You're going to see it here. You can see the semi stalled right there around 7 o'clock this morning.
Now, one of the worst problems that we saw along Interstate 64 was right there at Kings Highway. The on-ramp coming into the eastbound lanes. Several cars got stuck trying to get on the highway because of those high banks of snow left behind by the snow plows. Some folks just got stuck right there. Others were able to pretty much gun the car a little bit, push through that snow, but hopefully things have cleared out since that time.
Yeah, you can see that it's hard to get by. This is video from 5:30 this morning on I-64. This was approaching 270. So this is what we've been talking about. Those plows really kind of make these snow banks on the road, but we're seeing a lot of stranded drivers, people trying to get, it looks like they were trying to get on the on-ramp, right?
Now this is actually the area that we just saw Sydney drive through live on the air.
Yeah, right.
So you kind of see the difference in the two, but still very much snow covered at this time. Stalled drivers were caught on camera shoveling their way out of exit ramps all over town. This here was along the Hampton ramp to get onto 44 eastbound. They worked together. Hopefully they're able to get that car out. But we were told that if you do get stuck in your car in situations like that, it's best to stay in your car so that you don't get hit on the side of the highway.
911 instead of shoveling. But there you see a lot of people doing that. Hope people are safe today. Right now, we know Metro services have resumed once again after being suspended overnight. All Metro buses and its caller ride service were delayed because of the snow and ice. Services were picked up just about 2 hours ago. They started again. So Metro says expect delays for Metrolink riders. Make sure you are planning accordingly.
The winter storm has forced hundreds of schools and businesses to close or at least change their hours. We have over 600 closures and cancellations reported into our newsroom so far. It caused many parents to scramble to try to figure out how to take care of their kids today. A full list is scrolling at the bottom of the screen right now. Also closed today, the Missouri Botanical Garden, St. Louis Zoo, and many of our government buildings. Grocery stores did open today, but later. Snooks and Deerbergs are open if you do need to go out to get any food. Just be careful doing so, especially in the parking lots where it could be a bit slick out there. For a full list of what's closed, simply text the word closing to 314-425-5355, and we will send you a complete list. Just to say the least, it is a mess outside.
Yeah.
I don't care where you are, where you live, it's a mess. It really hasn't improved a whole lot. And when you think about the plows moving through and clearing the roads, well, it still leaves behind a little bit of the snow, which can glaze over, and now you've got an ice situation as well.
And you know what? Of course, a lot of people are staying indoors, hopefully. I mean, we saw Travis Cummings earlier saying, in the morning, saying how some people have surgeries today, so they have to get out. But now that you're stuck inside, I mean, the truth is, my mom texts are just blowing up because you've got kids who've been out of school since December 20th. Today was the day they were supposed to go back. Everything's closed. Obviously, the zoo, botanical garden. So, you know, now the question is, okay, when is this going to move out of here so we can get the kids back to school?
Break out a puzzle today.
What do you do all day today, really? I mean, that's the big question. What are your kids doing today, Anthony?
Well, I'll tell you what, they wanted to go sledding, and they did yesterday, but they came back in and everything was wet.
Yeah.
And so we had to throw everything in the dryer, so hopefully everything is dry now so they can go out and, you know, build the snowman and do a little sledding. Get out of the house and leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know. Winter break continues. All right, let's look at the snow totals here and mix in with the sleet. And we've been updating these numbers, continuing to get these in as folks are waking up and getting out and give us these measurements. But I tell you what, from about 4 to 7, folks are like, nope, I'm staying in. You measure your own snow. But here you go. 10 inches, Bowling Green, Staunton, Illinois. Same deal, Lake St. Louis, about 9 inches. In Kirkwood, some of our neighborhoods, even Maryland Heights, 5 to 6 inches. So you know what? This system did exactly what we thought it would, and now it's moving on. It's always nice when a system comes on in, does what we forecast, and then it moves away from us. And that's what we had. No big surprises with this one. We had watched it for a whole week out, and each and every day, if you watched us last week, we were on this thing. And I tell you what, it came in and it moved on and did exactly what we were expecting. We like when that happens because, you know, if we get surprises, you all let us know. Like we don't know. We know. All right. So hopefully you're all safe and sound this morning. As we go through the day, the clouds will clear. We'll see gusty winds, but the snow has wrapped on up. Speaking of wrapped on up, look at this. Highland, Illinois. You can see the square there and all of the snow-covered roads in place as well. So this is what you're going to be dealing with, whether you're headed out on a side street or an interstate. But you see where you get more traction, where you get more cars going over the roadways, you get a little more clearing. That is known as friction. Yeah, science. You know, I'm going to throw some weather in there. Weather terms 101. Even in downtown, you can start to see Market Street there along the riverfront. 21 degrees at Lambert this morning. It feels like 9 because of that steady wind. It's out of the west-northwest at 12. That is a cold wind, and even with the gusts occasionally, it really cuts through the clothes. So if you do have to shovel today, maybe you're getting out with the kids, make sure you're layered up, insulated, undershirts tucked on in, just to keep the little ones nice and warm. Even the tennis shoes, you know what? Those don't do good. You need the snow boots in this kind of weather because, you know, the tennis shoes, they get all wet, and then, of course, you're like me. Throw them in the dryer. All right, 18 degrees in Warrenton. It's 19 in Chesterfield, 22 in Sparta, even Mount Vernon, you're at 23 degrees. So our numbers are going to stay below freezing today all the way through Friday. So whatever you treat is going to refreeze, whether it's your sidewalk or driveway. Just make sure you're keeping an eye on that each and every day. This is slips and fall season. So each and every day when you head out the door, make sure you're checking your traction on your sidewalk and driveway because, again, we're expecting this to refreeze through the week. High temperature tomorrow, 26. We go through the week. I want to show you each and every day through Thursday, and you can see how it's just not going to move much. Our highs on Wednesday, low to mid-20s, even Kansas City, 18 degrees. That's a high temperature. 28 for us on Thursday, and so each and every day, again, I think you get the picture. Yeah, just downright cold. Want to get away? I'll dream with you. Thinking of Florida, thinking of Hawaii. Yeah, a warm place, right? 7-day forecast shows that temperatures are going to stay brutal this week. Single digits each and every morning. Afternoon highs at 24 today, 22 tomorrow, 21 on Wednesday. And there you go. The tone for us, Friday, 31 with the next chance of snow. We'll give you a chance to digest this snow before we talk about Friday's snow. Give you a few days to dry out and, of course, clear your head. We'll go over that through the week. In the meantime, let's talk to Paul Cook. Check those roadways, Paul. It's a very busy day on the roads as crews are trying to clear things off, and I see them looking at something behind you right now.
Yeah, they're moving these cameras here from MoDOT, actively working there. And, well, I always say it, awareness is key, right? Probably say it too much. Today, awareness is uber key. It really is so important out there. I wanted to show you this one, 70 at 94. So we are in the west area. We're in St. Charles, and we've talked a lot about driver overconfidence, right? What about truck driver overconfidence? I hate to blame here, but I will see, guys, the trucks right there where you see the emergency vehicle right there. I will see trucks flying by, and it is not at all paved here or shoveled aside, and that is just a very dangerous dangerous scenario. What does it mean for you? Why does this matter for you unless you're a truck driver? Because if you're on the roads, you might be part of something that is not something you intended. And, you know, this is a day where it's like, not me. That's not going to happen to me. Just like Anthony was saying, slipping on the ground, not going to happen to me. I got a broken leg. So just be very, very careful out there. We care about you. We want you to come back, and we definitely don't want you to get hurt. These were the areas where it was covered. That's important. You can see that at KSDK.com, Illinois and Missouri. This is where we were here with that truck. I just want you to see all over the roads. We are fully dealing with snow here, and it's still very dangerous, and it's kind of perilous as you take yourself outside in this maybe this afternoon or tomorrow. I expect a really rough day tomorrow as well. I hope I'm wrong. Right here you can see another stall in the road here on 44 just past 270. We will keep an eye on it. I'm always saying it. Awareness is uber key. We'll talk more in just a few minutes.
Oh, I don't like that prediction though, Paul. All right, hopefully we'll have a better day tomorrow. Let's get a live look over at St. Louis Lambert International Airport this morning. So far, we know 30 flights have been delayed, and get this, another 166 flights have been canceled. This is all according to Flight Aware there, but you can see all the snow at the airport. This is, of course, after hundreds more were canceled just yesterday. Take a look at this picture taken yesterday through a Terminal 1 window. The low visibility and slick runways there are posing some major problems, and we spoke with some would-be passengers who say they were stuck on the tarmac for hours.
So we waited in the plane for like two and a half hours. Then we got out. We were not told what's going on. Then they put us waiting, and then they just gave us like vouchers for the hotel.
Sounds miserable. Lambert says that anyone with flight status questions should check their airline's app or contact the airline's customer service. I have talked to people who've also been trying to get updates from the airlines, though, and so far they're not getting what they need. In the meantime, this morning we are getting an update from the Missouri State Highway Patrol.
Well, they say that so far today they've responded to nearly 600 calls for service and more than 450 stranded motorists, and that number is growing. Here's a look at one of those scenes from earlier this morning along Interstate 64 right before Vandevender. This is coming off of the on-ramp from eastbound onto eastbound I-64 off of Kings Highway. During our 6 a.m. hour of today in St. Louis, Missouri Highway Patrol Corporal Dallas Thompson shared some important advice in case you get stranded.
Please stay inside your vehicle. Don't get out. Don't try to dig yourself out. Stay inside your vehicle. Keep that seatbelt on because we don't want another vehicle to come up behind you and strike you.
Now, thankfully, Highway Patrol is not reporting any fatalities in the St. Louis area this morning.
That is certainly a silver lining. But let's check back in with our city stalwart who's keeping an eye on road conditions. She is driving right along I-64 East, as I understand. Good morning, Sydney.
Good morning, Michelle. Yes, we are coming back the opposite direction that we were headed in before. So we're eastbound rather on 64. We just passed some of those same situations we showed you about 15 minutes ago. You'll remember that we saw a Metro call-a-ride bus that was stuck. And this is a similar situation. It was at least our second situation that we saw with the Metro call-a-ride service, which I'm told is up and running on a delayed schedule this morning. They got started at 8 because of the weather. But take a look. I mean, this is the second, at least, Metro call-a-ride bus that we've seen stuck in the snow this morning, and that is because the snow is so high, banking along the shoulders and on the on and off ramps. And take a look at what we've seen all morning. We've been out since 5 o'clock this morning, seeing similar situations all across this side of the river. We're seeing cars stalled in the middle of the highway, cars stalled on the shoulders, and also on these on and off ramps because they're unplowed and they're causing a lot of trouble for drivers. They're getting stuck in these inches of snow. Now, this morning, as we were on 64 East, I can tell you it's a little better off than 64 West. You might be able to see it a little bit over the median. We do have a little bit of asphalt that we can see, which is great news for drivers to try to get that traction. But if we were to veer over a little bit to the left or the right, I can tell you as Joe, our photographer, Joe, who's driving this morning, goes over to the left, we're completely on snow right now. So if you try to go too quickly, if you try to make a sudden turn, down, you could easily be spun out like some of those drivers we saw earlier. Again, now we want to show you the conditions on the highways because we know that's what everybody wants to see. But the main issue is safely getting on and off of the highway. That's the big problem for drivers this morning. Those ramps are unplowed and they're causing people to spin out and get stuck. That's what we're seeing. Still seeing some of that out here as we make our way on 64 East. Guys, I'll send it back to you in studio.
All right, thank you, Cindy. Our winter weather team coverage continues now over in the great state of Illinois.
Mercedes McKay has been in our storm tracker this morning. She's been keeping an eye on a lot of different things. Mercedes, where are you exactly right now and what are you seeing?
Hey, Rennie and Michelle. So we are on I-64 westbound in our weather impact storm tracker approaching O'Fallon, Illinois. I'll give you a look at what we're experiencing this morning. This is actually even worse than I-64 eastbound. A lot more snow accumulated on this interstate. People thankfully driving slowly. We have seen a couple of cars go past us a little too quickly than we would like. But actually, when y'all caught up with us about 20 minutes ago, we were trying to exit to make our way back to Missouri. We had to actually go past about 5 exits to find one that looked comfortable enough for us to exit. So just as Sydney was saying over in Missouri, same story over here in Illinois. Those on and off ramps are when they are really tricky. But still, we can kind of start to see the pavement here on the interstate. But, you know, other than that, there's these piles of snows on the side that make it really, really tough. You know, about 5 minutes before y'all took me, we saw loads and loads of Ameren's cars heading towards the area of southern Illinois, and that's going to be a big story here because those outages, especially in southern Illinois, are major right now. I'll send it back to you guys in studio.
Of course, Sydney out as well. All of our reporters giving us a first eye view of what it looks like where you are. And you can see the roads again. This is 6440 in Chesterfield. And yes, we're making some headway, but again, we're still finding stalls every now and again, folks getting stuck. I do want to recap the snow totals across the area. St. Louis Lambert coming in at 6 inches. Maryland Heights just under that. Harvester 6.5. Same in Kirkwood. And then the big winner here, Bowling Green and Staunton up to 10 inches of snowfall. The week ahead is going to stay bitterly cold. Make sure you have those layers ready to go. Snow boots. Even I'd say after today, even though the roads are going to improve, the shovel in the car and some kitty litter or sand is really going to help you get some traction if you do get stuck. And well, whenever you call the insurance claims on days like this, the folks that come and help you off the side of the road, you just never know how long it's going to take. So that's my advice for you through the next couple of days. Even though we're not talking any active weather, here's another chance of snow. I know probably not what you want to hear, but on Friday we will be watching that as we go through the course of the week. If you have any travel plans on Friday, of course, we'll check back with you through the next few days. On Friday, as we get closer to each and every day, we of course will refine the forecast. In the meantime, just bundle up. Do use extra care and caution. Obviously can't state that enough because our snow covered roads are still in place. That's why our weather impact alert continues through today, 24 for the high. Let us go back over to Paul and get an update on these roads.
All right, thank you, Anthony. Yeah, those temperatures are a little worrisome because we're not going to get the melt that we would like here. We do have the crews working with things, of course, with the roads and, of course, the wind. It's an issue, but you're not going to have major visibility problems. But get that car dusted off because you don't want to cause an accident for someone else, and make sure your defrost is good. I know you know all this, but make sure for visibility. I had a little strip on my windshield wiper, and it just kept leaving it up there. So that was really rough. Just make sure you take care of it. You can tell we are slow everywhere. There's really no accidents to talk about here that can affect you, but I want to make sure that I show you how we zoom in here on 40 and on 44 right there at Shrewsbury. We should be okay out there.
Oh man, I hate that you say, you know what, tomorrow we're talking, you know, these same kind of temperatures,
Yes.
so we could be looking at
Yeah.
some more issues tomorrow.
Yeah, it could be a little deceiving out there.
Let's hope we don't have any.
Let's hope everyone's
Look
safe.
at it that way. And remember, when you leave the house today, just because it's nice where you are doesn't mean it's going to be that way where you're going. So conditions can change. We're going to stay on top of the winter weather all day here on 5 on Your Side. Be sure to have that 5 on Your Side app downloaded and check in for updates coming up at noon. As we say goodbye this morning, let's go back outside and take a live look at the roads. Once again, you can see there's a little bit of pavement. For the most part, they're snow covered. Be careful.
When you see this symbol, you know you're watching television that's educational and informational.